çile çekilmez. Bende bitip tükenmeyen umut olmasa, Ferhat'ın dağları delen sabrı olmasa, bir de cana can katan o sevdan olmasa, sevdan olmasa, bir de cana can katan o sevdan olmasa, sevdan olmasa, sevdan olmasa, sevdan olmasa. babo babo baoro ma ogaye baoro ma babo babo Edeleti baoro ma nae
Idef, the heart of the defense industry for over 30 years. A global platform for innovation and collaboration. Combines technology for peace and security. We are building the future together.
saygıdeğer misafirler, dünyanın dört bir yanından gelen değerli meslektaşlar, hanımefendiler, beyefendiler, Uluslararası Savunma Sanayi Fuarı çatısı altında düzenlenen Networking zirvesine hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Bu etkinlik standlardan ve broşürlerden bir anlığına uzaklaşıp yeniliği, işbirliğini ve somut etkiyi tetikleyen sohbetlerde bir araya gelme fırsatıdır. Good evening, distinguished guests, industry partners, military leaders, innovators, and colleagues from across the globe. On behalf of the organizers of the International Defense Industry Fair, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to tonight's networking reception, a chance to step away from the exhibits, put down the brochures, and engage in the kind of conversations that spark innovation, collaboration, and real-world impact. Ben Efnan Han, bu özel akşamda sizlere ev sahipliği yapacağım. Bugün burada yalnızca profesyoneller olarak değil, güvenlik, dayanıklık ve geleceğe dönük savunma vizyonu doğrultusunda bir araya gelmiş küresel bir topluluğun ortakları olarak bağlantı kurmak için bir aradayız. My name is Efnan Han and I will be your host this evening as we take a few moments to connect, not just as professionals, but as partners in a global community committed to security, resilience, and forward-looking defense. Son 3 gün boyunca insansız sistemlerden yapay zeka destekli platformlara, yeni nesil iletişim çözümlerinden siber güvenliğe ve daha pek çok alana kadar uzanan etkileyici bir teknoloji, yetenek ve strateji vizyon şölenine tanıklık ettik. Ama böyle bir etkinliğin asıl gücü insanlarda, yani sizlerde, düşünenlerde, üretenlerde, karar verenlerde. Buraya sadece sergilemek için değil, tartışmak, fikir üretmek, alışverişinde bulunmak ve keşfetmek için gelenlerde. İşte bu akşam da tam olarak bununla ilgili. Over the past 3 days, we've witnessed an incredible showcase of technology, capability, and strategic thinking from unmanned systems and AI-enabled platforms to next-gen communications, cybersecurity, logistics, and beyond. But let's be honest, the real power of an event like this doesn't just live in the hardware or in the specs. It lives in people, the thinkers, the builders, the decision makers, to you all who come here not just to display, but to discuss, debate, and discover. That's what tonight is all about. Şimdi sizleri bu akşamın keyfini çıkarmaya davet ediyorum. İkramların, güzel sohbetlerin ve en önemlisi yeni insanlarla tanışma, tanıdık yüzlerle yeniden bir araya gelme ve ağınızı anlamlı şekilde genişletme fırsatını kullanmanıza davet ediyoruz. We now like to invite you to enjoy the evening, the refreshments, the company, and most importantly, the opportunity to meet someone new, reconnect with familiar faces, and expand your network in meaningful ways. Esteemed guests, I'd like to begin our program with the opening speeches of the night. Please join me in welcoming the President of the Turkish Armed Forces Foundation, Mr. Bilal Topçu, to the stage.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to our Network Summit event for the first time this year, bringing together company representatives and delegations. I will be giving my speech in Turkish today, but no worries, our international guests can follow the main flow of the talk in English on the screen. Burada dünyanın en güzel şehirlerinden birinde, kıtaların, kültürlerin buluşma noktası olan İstanbul'da sizlerle birlikte olmaktan mutluluk duyduğumu belirterek sözlerime başlamak isterim. İdef Fuarı'nın yönetim ve sorumluluğunu üstlenen vakfımız, Türk Silahlı Kuvvetleri'ni Güçlendirme Vakfı, Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımızın başkanlığında faaliyet gösteriyor. Kuruluşu ve yapısı itibariyle Türkiye'nin savunma sanayi alanında faaliyet gösteren ve kanunla kurulan ilk vakfıyız. Aselsan, TUSAŞ, Roketsan, Havelsan, İşbir ve Asbilsan'ın sahibi olan vakfımız bizzat milletimizin bağışları ve destekleriyle kuruldu. 1993 yılından itibaren gerçekleştirdiğimiz ve bu yıl 17.sini gerçekleştirdiğimiz İdef fuarımız da vakfımızın Network Summit etkinliğimizi ise savunma sanayindeki yerli ve uluslararası firmaların tanışması, tecrübe paylaşımı ve geleceğe yönelik işbirliği için özel bir etkinlik olarak planladık. Bu akşam lezzetli ikramlarımız ve harika müzikler eşliğinde henüz tanışmadığınız onlarca kişiyle bu akşam gerçekleştireceğiniz görüşmeler, arkadaşlıklara, dostluklara ve belki yeni ortaklıklara vesile olacak. Fuarımızın ilk 3 gününü geride bıraktık. Önümüzde 3 gün daha var. Eminim ki siz değerli misafirlerimizle birlikte önümüzdeki 3 günü de yine aynı coşkuyla tamamlayacağız. Fuarımızın ilk gününde açılış törenimizde Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan ve siz değerli misafirlerimizle birlikte kara, hava ve deniz platformlarımızı izlediğimiz geçiş töreni, uçuşlar ve canlı gösterilerle deniz araçları gösterilerinin yer aldığı çok güzel ve büyük bir açılış töreni gerçekleştirdik. Şu ana kadar 50.000'in üzerinde profesyonelin ziyaret ettiği fuarımızda 900'ün üzerinde Türk firmayı ve 44 farklı ülkeden 1400'den fazla firmayı ağırlıyoruz. Yine bu sene fuarımızda toplamda 103 ülkeden 231 uluslararası heyet ve yaklaşık 1000 heyet üyesi katılım sağladı. Daha büyük ve daha dinamik bir İdef için İstanbul Fuar Merkezi'ne ilave olarak bu yıl fuarımızı Atatürk Havalimanı, Ataköy Marina ve şu an içinde bulunduğumuz WOW Kongre Merkezi ile toplamda 4 ayrı lokasyonda gerçekleştiriyoruz. Umarım tüm alanlarımızı ziyaret etmişsinizdir. Henüz etmediyseniz 3 gün daha vaktimiz var. Özellikle bu yıl gerçekleştirdiğimiz etkinliklerimizi ve sergilerimizi sizlere hatırlatmak, birkaç öneride bulunmak isterim. Hemen dışarıda Defenders of Tomorrow alanında gençlerimiz projelerini sergiliyorlar. Ziyaret etmenizi tavsiye ederim. Ayrıca ana fuayede Defense Trends alanında son teknolojileri yerinde inceleyebilirsiniz. Lansman alanında ise katılımcı firmalarımızın kendi ürünlerini tanıttıkları programları takip edebilirsiniz. Havalimanı tarafında her yarım saatte bir gerçekleşen Anadolu Medeniyetlerin Hafızası adlı dijital sanat gösterisini izleyebilir. Ayrıca Aselsan'ın 50. yıl sergisini gezebilirsiniz. Ana fuaye alanındaki vakıf mağazaya uğrayıp hem vakfımız ve İdef, Roketsan, TUSAŞ ve Havelsan'ın lisanslı ürünlerinden alabilir, sevdiklerinize hediye edebilirsiniz. Kıymetli katılımlarınız ile İstanbul bir kez daha savunma sanayi profesyonellerinin buluşma noktası oldu. Fuarımıza ve bu akşamki etkinliğimize katılım sağladığınız için sizlere teşekkür ediyorum. Ülkenize, evinize, ailenize ve sevdiklerinize selamlarımı iletiyorum. Keyifli ve unutulmaz bir akşam geçirmenizi diliyorum. Programımız hız kesmeden devam edecek. Hiçbir yere ayrılmayın. Daha tanışacak çok kişi var, paylaşacak çok şey var diyorum. İdef 2025'i hep beraber verimli ve keyifli bir şekilde tamamlayacağımıza inanıyor. İdef 2027'de yeniden buluşmak üzere. Hepinize hayırlı akşamlar diliyorum.
Thank you, Mr. Topçu, for those remarks. I'd now like to invite the Secretary of Turkish Defense Industries and Chairman of the Board of TAF, Professor Dr. Haluk Görgün, to the stage to deliver his speech.
Dear friends, dear guests, I welcome you all once again. This exhibition and the events that we are having for the last 3 days. This exhibition actually have a meaning and gets value with your valuable participation. And according to my idea, that I could say that the technology improves when all the stakeholders, all the participants actually can find all the players complete each other completely. So your participation in such a great contribution to Idef, and we have been working hard for at least for 1.5 years for this exhibition to make it great and to be remembered with your presence in Istanbul. And I hope you enjoyed both in professionally and socially. And I once again I thank to you all and hope to see you in 2 years in Idef 2027. Good evening.
Thank you, Professor Gergen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a performance of unique cultural experience that brings together centuries of Turkish tradition, visual poetry, and musical excellence. The mesmerizing harmony of Ebru Sanatı, also known as Turkish marbling art, is an ancient practice where colors dance on water and transform into one-of-a-kind artworks. Ebru is more than just art. It's a meditative craft, a dialogue between water, pigment, and the artist's hand. Originating from Central Asia and flourishing during the Ottoman Empire, Ebru was once used to decorate books and manuscripts. Today, it stands as a vibrant form of artistic expression where every piece is created uniquely, never to be repeated again. And tonight we are in the presence of one of the most groundbreaking artists in this tradition, Garip Ay. You may know him from his internationally acclaimed reinterpretation of Van Gogh's Starry Night, painted entirely on water. Accompanying this visual journey is another exceptional artist, Burak Malçok, a master of the ney, the traditional reed flute that has echoed through the ages of Turkish and Sufi music. Burak Malçok has spent years refining his craft through both academic and artistic channels. With performances across international stages, he has redefined the voice of the ney, staying true to its roots while giving it new wings. So please, sit back and allow yourselves to be immersed in a performance where water becomes canvas, breath becomes melody, and tradition becomes timeless. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Garip Ay and Burak Malçok. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, give it up for Garipai and Burak Malchok for that stunning performance. So I hope you have all been paying attention to certain details throughout the expo and have general information about this beautiful country, Turkey, because we're about to immerse in an engaging part of tonight's event. We are going to put your knowledge to this test by presenting an engaging quiz to you all. Don't worry, it's not as challenging as some of you might think. I'd like you all to, if I can get the Kahoot page up on the screen behind me. We're going to have a barcode up on the screen behind me in just a moment. There we go. So we have this barcode. If I can get all of you to take out your smartphones, scan the barcode. If you're unable to scan the barcode, you can enter the game pin at www.kahoot.it. The barcode should direct you to the website. Please add that game pin into the website. We see our participants joining one by one. I'd like to mention that we will be presenting a gift to the top 3 winners of today's quiz. Again, the questions aren't too challenging, so don't worry. All right. We have 43 participants so far. That number is rising. We have a big group of people here tonight, so I'd like to see everyone take out their phones and join us for this engaging quiz. We should have at least over 100 participants. We're at 75. I'll be presenting 10 different questions tonight. Again, they're not too hard questions. It's about the expo and about the general culture of this magnificent country, Turkey, where this expo is being held. It happens every 2 years. The last was in 2023. The next will be in 2027. There we go. We've passed 108 participants. We're at 110. We are going to be testing your general knowledge about not just the defense industry and this expo, but of course about this beautiful country. All right, so I'm going to slowly begin. If I can get a cue from my gallery, if I can slowly begin. All right, we're at 128, 130. Again, I'll be presenting 10 different questions, 10 short questions. It's not going to take too long. It's going to be engaging, and it's not going to be too hard, so don't be too worried. We're at 140 participants. I see that number going down and up from time to time. I see some people exiting the quiz. Please don't exit. We're not going to take too much of your time. It's going to be fun. We're at 145. All right, I think we can begin now. So I will be reading out the questions to you one by one with the choices of answers that will be projected on the screen. It's going to start in 3, 2, 1. You have a couple of seconds to answer. So here we go. What does the IDEF stand for? The options are International Defense Exhibition Forum, International Defense Industry Fair, Istanbul Defense Event Fair, the Industrial Development Expo Fair. So now that I'm assuming that all of you are participating in this expo, you should know the name by now. We have the last 10 seconds to get your answers in. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're looking at what the IDEF stands for, and it's the International Defense Industry Fair. Let's take a look at who the top responder is. We have Sena Su coming in at first place with 987 points. All right, on to the second question of the quiz. What's the slogan often associated with Turkey's defense industry strategy? We saw this in the opening video of tonight. Power through partnership, stronger together, national and independent, technology first. We have more than 80 people have answered. Last 18 seconds to get your answers in. We have more than 140 participants, so we're almost there. As soon as we get the last answer in, of course, the slogan that is associated with Turkey's defense industry strategy will be announced on our screens. And the slogan is national and independent. A lot of people have answered stronger together, but it is national and independent. Let's see who came in first place in this answer. Sena Su is still retaining her first place with 1,970 points. Congratulations to Sena Su. All right, next question, the third question of the quiz. How many countries and international organizations participated in the IDEF of 2025? The options are 20, 45, 75, and 100. 20, 45, 75, and 100. We're looking at international organizations that have participated in the last IDEF organization. Last 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. We're at 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 162 answers have been brought in. And the answer is 100. 100 international participants took place in IDEF 2025. And that number, as we've seen this time around, continues to grow, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who the first place winner is. Oh, Yusuf Kerem came ahead of Sena Su. Sorry, Sena Su, I don't know where you are in the crowd, but congratulations to Yusuf Kerem, who's at 2,926 points. Next question of the quiz, our fourth question out of the 10. Which of the following symbols is featured on the Turkish flag? You must all know this one. A hint, the Turkish flag is red and white, and it has two symbols. The crescent and cross, crescent and star, star and eagle, sun and moon. We have 16 seconds left on the clock. Everyone should have answered by now. We're still seeing that number go up by the people answering, but of course, this beautiful country has a very beautiful flag that has a very beautiful meaning behind it, and the answer is, of course, the crescent and star. 122 people have answered correctly, not to our surprise. I don't know what the others have answered, though. Let's see who the first place winner of that answer is. Again, Yusuf Kerem retaining his position at the first place with 3,906 points. On to the next question of the quiz. The fifth question, ladies and gentlemen. Which two continents does Turkey span? I don't know if you've been to the Bosphorus region, but it's a beautiful, beautiful view between these two continents. Europe and Asia, Asia and Africa, Europe and Africa, North America and Europe. Again, if you haven't taken the time to visit the Bosphorus here in this magnificent city of Istanbul, I highly, highly recommend you do, because that's where we see the cross point of the two continents. We're down at 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and 1 second. Of course, the answer is Europe and Asia, the only country in the world that spans two continents, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who the first place winner is. If Yusuf Kerem is retaining his position in first place, and he is at 4,887 points. Can I see where Yusuf Kerem is? If I can see a hand, there he is at the very back. Congratulations, Yusuf Kerem, for retaining your first place position. On to the sixth question of the quiz. Which ancient city is located in Turkey and considered the setting of the Trojan War? There was an infamous movie made about this very, very moment in history, ladies and gentlemen. The options are Sparta, Athens, Troy, and Babylon. Options again, Sparta, Athens, Troy, and Babylon. If you remember that movie, it's also the name of this ancient city. We have the last 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It is Troy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who the first place winner of this answer is. We're seeing some changes. Yusuf Kerem, again, retaining his position in first place with 5,829 points. On to the seventh question of our quiz today, ladies and gentlemen. Which famous Turkish instrument is commonly used in traditional music? Now, all these instruments are used in various different cultures and countries, but one is used in Turkish culture: the violin, the sitar, bağlama, and banjo, ladies and gentlemen. We have the last 15 seconds on the clock. If you're acquainted with traditional Turkish music, you might know the answer to this. Again, violin, sitar, bağlama, and the banjo. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the answer is, of course, the bağlama. 136 people answered correctly. Let's see who the first place winner is. Again, I'm assuming it's Yusuf Kerem. Yes, it is, with 6,782 points. Seems like we're going to be giving him the first place prize tonight. All right, on to the next question of the quiz, the eighth question of the quiz. Which one of these cities is known for its fairy chimneys and hot air balloons? This is a city located in Turkey, ladies and gentlemen. Bodrum, Antalya, Cappadocia, and Bursa. If you haven't been to this city, I highly recommend you do take a visit to the city. It's absolutely beautiful. The sights are gorgeous. We have the last 10 seconds now on the clock. All of these cities are touristic destinations in Turkey, but the one that we're talking about tonight consists of fairy chimneys and hot air balloons. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Cappadocia. Let's see who the first place winner of this one is. Yusuf Kerem again retaining his position with 7,747 points. But I'd like to note here that Sibel has the highest answer streak of 8. So that's a good accomplishment as well. On your behalf, Sibel, I don't know where you are in the crowd, but congratulations to you as well. On to the next question of the quiz. What is the capital city of Turkey? This is a very easy one, ladies and gentlemen. Istanbul, Izmir, Antalya, and Ankara. It's known as the diplomatic city of the country. Some who aren't very knowledgeable about this country may mix up two of the cities, but it's probably not the one that's on your mind. I'm assuming, though, many of you know the answer to this question of which city is the capital city of Turkey. 2 and 1. And the answer is Ankara, ladies and gentlemen. So we have 6 people answering Istanbul. I thought maybe we'd have more people say Istanbul because many foreigners do believe that, Istanbul may be the capital, but no, it is Ankara. Let's see if Yusuf Bey is retaining his first place position, and he is at 8,705 points. All right. The next question and final question of our quiz is, which Turkish lake is known as the largest in the country? Lake Tuz, Lake Van, Lake Bafa, Lake Eğridir. A hint, it has great breakfast, ladies and gentlemen. This city has great breakfast. We have 4 options. It is the largest lake in the country. Our options are Lake Tuz, which also is a great sight to see, Lake Van, Lake Bafa, and Lake Eğridir. Last 3 seconds to answer. And it is Lake Van, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's see who the first place winner, or the top 3 winners, is. So we have Kemal in third place. If I can have Mr. Kemal join me here on the stage. We have Sibel. If I can have Miss Sibel join me here on the stage. And our first place winner, as we assumed, Mr. Yusuf Kerem, if he can also join us here on the stage. Come on. Miss Sibel. sizleri şöyle alayım efendim, sahnenin orta, ön kısımlarını doğru. If I can also have Yusuf Kerem, our first place winner with us here on the stage. Buyurun efendim, şöyle alayım ben sizleri. As I mentioned, we'd like to present gifts to our top 3 winners. If I can have Mr. Bilal and Mr. Volkan join me here on the stage to present the gifts. Buyurun efendim. And if I can also have Professor Haluk join me here on the stage as well to present the gifts. Buyurun efendim. Okay, to our third place winner, we have a gift set that has been prepared by the Turkish Armed Forces Foundation. If we can have it presented to Mr. Kemal here. Congratulations, Mr. Kemal. And our second place winner, Miss Sibel, if we can have a beautiful coffee set, a Turkish coffee set that is being presented to you. And of course, our first place winner is going to be presented with a special gift tonight. It's a tour of this magnificent city of Istanbul, where he will learn about the historical and cultural facts about the country, along with a guide. Let's hear it for our participants and our top 3 winners, ladies and gentlemen, once again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking a 1-hour-long break. Continue to network. See you after an hour's time.
que ole, que ole. Ole. Dale. Dale. Ole, que asa. Vámonos, flamenco. Asa. Mira.
Saygıdeğer hanımefendiler ve beyefendiler, bu güzel akşamın sonuna yaklaşırken bu geceki networking resepsiyonunu sadece verimli değil, aynı zamanda gerçekten anlamlı kıldığınız için her birinize içten teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw this evening to a close, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for making tonight's networking reception not only productive, but truly meaningful. Geçtiğimiz birkaç saat içerisinde yeni bağlantıların kurulduğuna, fikir alışverişlerine ve ilham verici sohbetlerin başladığına tanık olduk. Bu tür sohbetler özellikle bizim sektörümüzde çığır açan işbirliklerine, stratejik ortaklıklara ve savunmayla ilgili güvenliğin küresel ölçekteki geleceğini şekillendirecek yeniliklere zemin hazırlayabilir. As we look ahead to the remaining sessions and exhibitions during the expo, let's carry the energy here today and inspiration forward. Whether you've met a new partner, gained a fresh perspective, or simply reconnected with a colleague, that momentum doesn't end here. Bir kez daha burada olduğunuz için, bu değerli topluluğa katkı sunduğunuz için ve hep birlikte inşa ettiğimiz geleceğin bir parçası olduğunuz için sizlere en içten teşekkürlerimizi sunuyoruz. Keyifli bir akşam, güvenli yolculuklar ve başarılarla dolu bir gelecek diliyoruz. 2027'de görüşmek üzere. So once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing to this remarkable community. And thank you for being part of the future that we are all helping to build. We wish you a pleasant evening, safe travels, and continued success. See you all in 2027.
We are already looking forward to Idef 2027. Once again, we are starting to work from today to explore the defense technologies of the future and create strategic collaborations, providing an experience full of dynamic events and innovative products for exhibitors and visitors.